Hello, everyone. This is October. We're going to conduct our Fire Chiefs Monthly video so that we can talk about the great things that's happening in Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service. Pete?
Chief, you've only been here a couple weeks or a couple months, I guess, but in fact, around 100 days. And, we've been engaged in a lot of things. Of course, the month of October, historically, Fire Prevention Month for us, and we've been engaged in a lot of activities. In fact, just recently we did Take 10 on 1010.
Correct.
We wore that out for days, but we got a lot of good coverage, and I think a lot of people heard that message. But Fire Prevention Month, community engagement involved a lot, but in your 100 days you've been here, or around 100 days, what's been going on in your life since then?
Quite a bit, and that actually the joint swearing in with Chief Yamada and myself, which is on October 22nd, is actually the official 100 days of service here. So a little bit less than that right now, but I can tell you I have a 100-day plan that I'm working through. It is an enormous organization. The good news is I've been getting a warm welcome from everywhere. Well received, great conversation. People are really passionate in the organization about what they do. I haven't made it around to everyone yet. I'm still working my way around. I've met with, this week alone, with Cabin John. I met with Gaithersburg. I visited a couple of stations. 729, I had dinner with them, and we had a very spirited conversation about things that's going on. I think it's been, from my perspective at least, very beneficial, and I'm learning a lot about our organization.
I've had an opportunity to watch you engage with a lot of the firefighters, a lot of the crews, and for the community, and to call them spirited conversations is, is interesting. But, coming from the outside of the organization here, you're able to see us, look at us with a different perspective, I think, and that's quite refreshing. But it has meant for a lot of great conversations, at least that I've been eavesdropping in on. So if you want to share some of those things that are going on as far as your 100-day plan, I know you want to roll that out when it actually happens, but what are some of the things that you have in mind that you've been engaged with so far?
I like to take it from the approach of what I'm hearing. And before I get to that, the set of eyes that I bring, I just haven't seen it before. So you all are used to it, and I'm seeing it for the first time. And what I can tell you is that the foundation is solid. This is a strong foundational organization, and that's refreshing for someone from the outside coming in. There's nothing that I would phrase that needs to be fixed that I've seen so far. Yes, there are areas that I've heard and I've seen that we may need to make some adjustments to do some improvement, but nothing has to be fixed that I've seen so far. And I can tell you that is really refreshing and easy for me to transition into, where in previous lives I've had to come in and try to fix something, and that's very difficult to do when you have limited resources. You have a whole lot of other things going on, and there's politics behind things of trying to maneuver. So that's the great news. I can tell you overwhelmingly, the theme that I'm hearing is improving our communication across everywhere. I can't tell you how many times I've sat and I'll give the example of FROMS, and we have conversations around FROMS, and I can tell you there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes, whether that's in negotiations or whether that's changing some things that we're doing to make it more efficient, and clarifying things and working with the vendor. But widely, that's not being distributed everywhere across the organization. So I'm constantly finding myself repeating everything I've said previously by someone else. So that tells me that we have an opportunity to improve some of our communications, and I'm looking for ideas from the workforce on how we can do that. I'm eager, so please, I ask the personnel to go through all your chains of command to provide insight on how you receive information, how you can benefit from that information to help do your job better. So communication is one area that I can tell you that we're going to do some work. And guess who's going to help me in that space?
Yeah, we've already had a lot of conversation on that. And I appreciate the fact you're going to give me 5 more PIOs. Just kidding. But so kind of, I know that you're familiar with the task force, Maryland Task Force One, that
Yeah.
we have here in Montgomery County, from your place in Prince George and Alexandria and so forth. But now you've got firsthand experience. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been deployed 5 or 6 times so far this year, and of course, you've been involved in a couple of those. So, what's your take on all that?
It's been easy for me. I um, have been able to been briefed by some very smart people, some people that's very experienced in this space, and they've given me information that I can digest very easily, that I can articulate and translate to people that's not in this field, our council members and our county executive's office. And based on the information they're telling me on not only from a preparedness standpoint with rostering enough personnel, from making sure we have the appropriate training and certifications that are necessary, as well as making sure that we're doing our due diligence back home, having the appropriate coverage for Montgomery County. When I'm able to get that information and digest that and translate that, it's been so easy. The support that I've received from the county council and county executive have been amazing, and they haven't questioned a single thing. I give them information and they say thank you and we move on. So Maryland Task Force One has been awesome. I appreciate the collaboration with the other agencies. I am very interested to learn more from an aspect of how do we get more people involved so we can even grow that bench of personnel that are trained so we can continue to deploy. And I'm really excited about the things that they're learning while they're deployed so they can bring them back here and we can even get better.
Yeah, and their deployments have been the last couple have been pretty unique. Of course, they've responded to a lot of weather events over the years, but at least the most recent response to North Carolina, I know, was presented a lot of challenges, and good for them. They did a lot of good work.
And we went to the United States Fire Administrators Summit this week. We got to hear a lot of what's going on with climate change and why we're seeing the increase in these type of weather events. We also met a lot of people. I've seen some people that I knew that's in different positions, like Fire Chief Shane Crutcher. He works for the Department of Interior, so he handles all of the National Park Services. So that opportunity got us to thinking about what are some ways that we can collaborate with what he does at the National Park Services and the training that they conduct, and how do we partner with our USAR team and our other teams within the department to figure out how we can increase our readiness. So more to come on that, but I'm eager to talk through those things and figure out new connections so that we can continuously evolve and improve what we do in our mission.
All right, everybody, hold on to your hats because he's got all kinds of great ideas. So, and I was listening in on some of those conversations up there at the summit. But yep, so we got that. We got the fire station, Clarksburg Fire Station,
Yeah.
finally after almost 20 years in the warehouse.
Again, you guys are making me look like a genius because I know the challenges that we went through to get to this point. But less than 12 weeks of me being here, you all got it over the finish line. And I can't tell you how appreciative I am for all the work behind the scenes that's happened, but also the Councilmember Balcom is going to do a tour very shortly. We're scheduling that along with the county exec's office. They're very excited. October 24th is the official groundbreaking. We do understand that there are some things that we need to do. We need to finish up our punch list of things that we need to fix. The shifts are there. They started on 7 o'clock. They ran their first call at 7:34. They're settling in, and anything that they need, we make sure that we're going to get it for them. We also identified some things that we need to work on as it relates to the roadway and some of the things that we've identified that we need to improve on, and we're working through that. And let me just say it, the elephant in the room, the question has always been, now what happens to Hyattstown 709? I have met with their leadership 2 weeks ago today, and we talked about a bunch of things. Not only, now that Clarksburg's open up, what happens to them in the staffing, the 4-person staffing that we have there, and in everything else that they're doing. I also talk to them about recruitment and where we can help them in their recruitment efforts so that we can join in that responsibility of staffing the station. What I can tell you is that I work with our operations chief, Chief Cooper. I've already had the conversation with the county executive's office. We're keeping 4-person staffing there until we get enough information to tell us we should do something different. So we won't see any changes with Hyattstown staffing until June 30th, where we are able to digest whatever information it tells us for us to react to that, to see where we need to put our resources. So I hope that answers a lot of questions that people may have had, but I can tell you, and I'm asking you, please, everyone, think from a system standpoint. I can tell you, I go to the Swift Water team. They have their needs. I go to a LFRD. They have their needs. I go to Emergency Medical Integrated Health. They have their needs. You get my point. Everybody has a different need, and sometimes we're competing against each other. As a fire chief, I have to think about the entire system. And sometimes those decisions that are being made, they're going to be made through data. I'm not going to let data control us. I'm going to let data inform us. And sometimes it may not look like you want it to be, but it has to be based off the system. And we will continuously work together. I will involve people in the process because we have a lot of brain power here, but I needed to say that we're going to look at a system standpoint, and we're going to make decisions based off the system.
Sounds good, but I know the Clarksburg relocation to that station on 355, a lot better egress and for the fire station personnel responding instead of getting out of the warehouse. So they're very pleased about that, and I think it will improve some response times in and around that area, or they think it will anyway. How about, there's been some things going on in EMS since you've been here. I mean, since the summer, some new EMS supervisors or EMS units. Of course, we've staffed some units, and whole blood, whole blood transfusions is a thing that we've been doing for a while now.
Well, so the EMS supervisors were here before I got here, and I'm glad that had went into play. I've been hearing great things about that. We did just adjust a EMS chase vehicle at 725. I was at 725 this morning. I had to get fuel, and I asked them, how's it going? They appreciate the 4-person staffing, obviously. That helps them address the things they need to address for the effective response force and taking care of all those responsibilities. But I also recognize there are going to be some other things that some people may think wasn't the greatest idea to implement. We're still fresh in this process, and we're going to evaluate what that looks like, and we'll make a final decision after we have enough information. So then the next reasonable question would be, we have 4 more chase cars. What are we going to do with that? We don't know. Every situation is a little different, and we're going to make the best decision system-wide. Again, I got to keep reiterating that. Those chase supervisors are staying in place right now. Chase cars are being evaluated. Yes, whole blood came into play, and I wish I could take the credit. I cannot. That process through Chief Kaufman and Dr. Stone and many others in that division did a lot of work, and I just happened to come. They explained it to me, as I mentioned before. With Burnham Task Force 1, you give me a lot of information. I can articulate it. I can understand it and digest it. It makes sense. Let's move forward because it helps the community. So that's another example of that. So we went on and did that, and I can tell you we've already received dividends from that work. So that's happening in EMIHS. We've already done our analysis on the EMS legislation that started in 2012 for EMS billing. We found that it now needs to be more contemporary. What does that mean? That means the way it was put into place back in 2012, the word transport was a significant piece of language in that legislation, which we only can access our Medicare and Medicaid funds based on transports. We have devolved as a EMS delivery system. And so we do other things, but based on the way our legislation is written, we can't access those funds. So we're changing the legislation that has us be more robust in being able to access the funds based on how we've created new ways to serve our community. So we had to go through that process, explain it to council. We had to do a fiscal analysis through OMB. They've done that. We've completed the package and submitted it, and now we have to wait till it goes in front of council to vote on. So that's also in queue, and that will happen very shortly.
All right, so a lot going on in EMS, but that's kind of always going on for sure. So let's see. Let's get to fire prevention. I heard you say on Channel 4 the other morning, and I've heard you say it before. Fire prevention state of mind.
Absolutely.
Explain that.
So we already have that. We're going to elevate it. And if I met with you, you heard this before. So that's nothing new to those who have spoken to me or spoken with me. I have not found anyone, and at Gaithersburg, one of the volunteers had 60 years of service. So I only asked him that question. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But I said, in your 60 years of fire service, have we ever been ahead of the curve in having too much of what we need to respond to the community's needs? What do you think he told me? Absolutely not. In my 30-year career, I have never seen us have more resources to respond than we need. We have always tried to catch up with what the community needs. They're living longer, there are more of them out there in the population, and it costs a whole lot of money, a whole lot of training to get people ready to respond to our community. We need to continue work in that space and find creative ways to respond to our community, but we also need to refocus on how we prevent the call in the first place. So when I say we're going to elevate it, we're going to have, MCFRS is going to have a fire prevention state of mind, EMS prevention state of mind, and everything else that we do to accomplish our mission. So at Gaithersburg, I asked a question based on what was asked of me with a paramedic. And Gaithersburg, as I understand, have one of the best fire prevention trailers out there in the county.
Volunteer paramedic.
It's a volunteer paramedic, right? And they do a lot of prevention things. And my question to them was, when was the last time you coordinated with our community risk reduction to leverage each other for our prevention efforts? And he said never. I haven't asked CRR this, so I don't have all the information. I want to make that clear. But that gave me a little bit of intel to figure out we have 19 LFRDs, we have all these stations, we have all these personnel, and we only have about 4 or 5 people assigned to community risk reduction. We need to be a force multiplier across prevention and figure out how do we use each other to help improve stopping that call, because we all know we're not keeping up. Response times are impacted. A whole lot of things are impacted system-wide. So that's what I mean by a fire prevention or prevention state of mind. We're going to figure out new ways, and I guarantee you there are people inside this organization that have a lot of great ideas. We just have to connect them so that we can help each other.
And I know I've been involved with community risk reduction in my PIO role for years. And
let me say this, Beth Ann and the group are doing an extremely awesome job. They are. Again, I said we don't have to fix anything. We just look at ways to continuously improve.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth. So let's see, where are we? Fire prevention state of mind. How about the budget? Sorry.
What about the budget? We have one.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
So we are right now starting the process of the fiscal year 26 budget. And for those who may not know, our budget season runs from July 1 to June 30th. So right now we're in FY25. FY25 ends June 30th of calendar year 25. FY26 starts July 1 of 25 and ends June 30th of calendar year 26. So if you all have been following, the county executive has 11 budget community listening sessions. He's conducted, I believe, 6 at this point. I've been to 5 of them, and I can tell you in 30 seconds what I've heard. The revenue projections are not adequate enough to cover our expenditures. So we got more money going out than we got coming in. Let me break it down for you. So what does that mean? I don't care how many ways we slice the pie, it's one pie. It's one pie. And public safety has a little under $800 million of that one pie. And the budget overall is $7 billion. And people are saying, "Oh wow, we got all this money left." No, we don't. Please, I'm not going to try to do it due diligence. I'm not the budget expert, but it's online. You can see what the overall budget is and where it's going to and where it's allocated, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So what does that mean? Because we have more money going out than coming in. That means right now, based off the projections, and they can change. The projection can change for the better, and the projections can change for the worse. I'm a betting man on for the better. But until then, we have guidance that we have to use for the budget process. And I can tell you, everybody except public safety has to find 5% of their budget as a savings plan, meaning give it back. Public safety has to find 3.5% of their budget to give it back. All of public safety, not just MCFRS. What does that mean in dollars for the fire department? That means $10 million. Where does that come from? We're trying to figure it out. So when I say we're going to think from a system standpoint, we're going to do system thinking, that's another reason why we need to do that, because we have a lot of resources, but we have still limited resources. I urge everyone, don't be alarmed. The sky's not falling. We have a lot of smart people, and our division chief, Dominic Del Pozo, and his team has been doing this for quite time. They've done this exercise of a savings plan before. I am optimistic that we're going to go through this process, and it's not going to hurt like we think it's going to hurt. So just stay tuned, work with us. If you get reached out to and ask certain questions, we're trying to figure it out so that we make the right decision, so that we are able to still have confidence with the community that we can accomplish our mission. So that process is still ongoing. We will share information when we can share information, but stay tuned on that. I just wanted to share that. Please don't be alarmed. This has happened before, and they've taken nothing in the history of the organization. So and sometimes they've taken a little. So we're doing our best at this, but we have some creative things that we're looking at, and we'll make sure that we communicate information when we can.
All right. Anything you want to address with, I know recruiting is a thing that you've been concerned about or interested in, and then we have a couple of recruit classes in the process.
So yes, I have definitely been evaluating our recruitment portfolio, and here's what I'll say. We do have dedicated staffing to our recruitment office, but each and every one of us are recruiters, whether that's recruiting for volunteering or recruiting for paid. We all are recruiters, and if you're not out there recruiting, shame on you. If you're not out there recruiting, shame on you. We have a great department here, and you know that. So please, I urge you, be the advocacy for the organization to bring people in. So part of what we're doing at this point, I can tell you Mike Brady, who's the Internal Affairs Manager, also his portfolio is managing the background process. He convened a committee that consisted of himself, our new Equity and Inclusion Diversity Manager, the Executive Officer, the Attorney's Office, and a representative from the Office of Human Resources at the county level, to really look at the standards that we're utilizing as it relates to the background process. So they're constantly evaluating that to make sure the standards are still contemporary and relevant, and still do the job it is supposed to do to either disqualify people because they don't deserve to be a part of this organization, or not disqualify people that move on to the next phase of the process. So that is happening as we speak as it relates to updating those things. We're not going to get into what those things are because that is a very confidential process, but I just wanted to share that that's what's happening. The formerly known as selection panel has been renamed to the Recruitment Advisory Committee to the Fire Chief. So, and there's more to come on that. We're evaluating the various steps of that process. We're evaluating the training that people receive that are on that panel. And then I'm working with Chief Howard to develop performance goals and strategic plans around what are we trying to achieve in our recruitment. What do we want from our recruitment efforts? And then at each part of the step, what is the reasonable time frame that each part of that step should take? The written tests, the background process, the medical process, etc. And then there are certain things that are not a part of it that we're evaluating. For whatever reason, we took out the interview phase of the process, so we're reevaluating that. But that also has a fiscal impact that we had to find money for because the panelists will be paid overtime to be on the panel. There's no psychological exam. That's a cost for that. So we're evaluating that to see what we should be adding to the steps. So all those things are being evaluated right now. But again, we want to make sure that this is a destination for everybody, and more to come on those things. But you'll have more information in a general space because, again, that's a confidential process.
All right, I think we've been at it for a bit and a lot for people to take in, a lot of good, interesting things. Of course, we're coming up on your 100 days here, and I'm looking forward to hearing your plan as you roll that out. We're looking forward to your official swearing in period as the fire chief and the police chief here coming up at the end of the month. So anything else?
Absolutely. Last thing, and then we can give you guys and gals back your time. I am now a county resident, so you all will see more of me.
Look out.
I'm in 725's first due, and that's why I got fuel there this morning.
Leisure World, is that right?
I'm not at Leisure World, not too far from it though. But I can tell you, I am still really excited. I'm like a kid at Christmas time or in a candy store because this is a great department that now I'm a part of, and I look forward to doing great things with each and every one of you. We will probably have the next fire chief video a little bit more earlier. I know this was a little later than normal. We'll have this a little bit more earlier. I've talked to Chief Buttle, President Buttle, I'm sorry. I'm speaking into existence, Chief.
Promotion.
Yeah, I'm speaking into existence. To talk more around the mental health, the behavioral health aspect, and various trainings that we are looking into to present to the organization to help us be more successful. So more to come on that. I look forward to you all doing great things as well. I always say have fun out there, take care of each other, and be safe.